Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and a very warm welcome to Visionary Pulse with me, your host Farzana Mayet, a segment that focuses on chatting to game changers and change makers. And tonight is certainly no different as we chat to one such game changer and change maker. We say a very good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and a warm welcome to Naadira Chippa, who is the author, applied psychologist, authority life coach, and inspirational speaker as well. Naadira Chippa is a South African author, inspirational speaker, and founder of Inc. of Inspiration Counseling. For many years, she has been passionate about helping women heal from emotional wounds, rediscover their identity, and live with purpose, courage, and self-worth. Through counseling, writing, and workshops, as well as public speaking, Naadira creates safe spaces where women are encouraged to reflect, grow, embrace both their strengths and vulnerabilities. 7 years ago, Naadira began hosting a ladies' workshop after seeing how many women were silently carrying the weight of trauma, people-pleasing grief, broken relationships, low self-esteem, and the pressure to appear strong whilst suffering alone. So she believed women needed more than motivation. They needed a safe place to be heard, understood, and inspired as well as challenged. What started as a small vision has grown into a movement that has impacted countless women, which we're going to be speaking about more in depth. Her workshops combine heartfelt storytelling, practical tools, and deep reflection, as well as meaningful conversations that encourage lasting personal growth. Her latest workshop, Beauty and the Beast Within, for the woman who dares to face herself, invites women to courageously confront the hidden parts of themselves, remove the masks they wear, and discover the beauty that emerges through healing and authenticity. Naadira, thank you so much for joining me on Visionary Pulse. Your journey combines psychology, life coaching, counseling, and inspirational speaking. What first inspired you to dedicate your life to helping women heal?
Okay, so through counseling, Farzana, we meet so many women who suffer with silent battles, and they suffer from everyday challenges, just trying to survive the day, trying to survive one day at a time, trying to survive 1 hour at a time. And I promise you, you'll see smiles and you'll see picture perfect lifestyles, but under it all, they are screaming for help through silent battles. So, what I try to do, and my life's purpose, is to be that voice to say, you know what, you are not alone. There's always someone there for you. You are not alone through your challenges. We share challenges. And Prasanna, through our day, even if it's our own mom, our own friend, our own sister battling depression or something that they're suffering from, we may not know it. And yet, we spend so much of time with them and never connecting. So I love connecting with women and make it my purpose to understand them on a deeper level than just how are you.
Absolutely profound. You often speak about emotional healing. What do you believe is the biggest emotional struggle women are facing today, Naadira?
Okay, so Farzana, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between what we see and what we really feel. So
Very
honestly,
well
it's
said.
self-sacrifice. As women, we sacrificed an entire lifetime for others. Firstly, again, it goes back to, in childhood, we sacrifice for our parents, our siblings. Then again, when we enter into a marriage, for your spouse, for your children. But is there a day in your life that you have lived for yourself? So we often say we would die for our family, but will we live for them?
Yeah. And that's a question that each of us need to ask. And that's why your workshops are so imperatively important. So, Naadira, let's go into the workshops, right? 7 years ago, you started hosting ladies' workshops. What moment made you realize that women needed these safe spaces?
Okay, so women need safe spaces in order to be themselves, in order for us to unite, in order for us to unite as a sisterhood, to understand that, you know what, I'm not taking this journey alone, but there's other sisters with me who understand me, who get me. And through counseling, I've realized that there's so many women who are looking for a day to just be seen, to be heard, to be understood, and to understand that in the world that we live in, where everybody, now on social media, or now you see picture perfection and everything is filtered, that there is realness, that there are authentic women who get you, who connect with you, and ultimately it creates the sisterhood of connection, of love, of routine, and we get to enjoy a day for ourselves. Firstly, it's an experience, Prasanna. You've been there, you've experienced this. It's an experience, not just a workshop, but it's an experience of, I'm going to say, introspection, but on a deeper level, where you get transformation. You get transformation of how we think, and also practical tools to apply to everyday life, inshallah.
Okay, so your latest workshop is titled Beauty and the Beast Within. What does the beast within represent, and why is it so important for women to confront the beast within? I love this question.
Okay, so this is a nice question. You love this question, right, Farzana? The beast within, right? I have to say, Farzana is also a speaker at Beauty and the Beast Within, so please be there. Okay, so the beast represents our insecurities, our people-pleasing nature, our
Yes.
conditioning from childhood, our traumas. You know, the beast, each and every one of us, we have a beast within which we sometimes run from. Often we suppress, often we fear a lot. But this beast is not our enemy. This beast is trying to tell us what's unhealed within ourselves. In order for us to heal ourselves, we have to come face to face and not just confront, but embrace the beast within.
You know, you couldn't have said it better, Nadira. But aside from that, you know, you mentioned speakers. I'm going to be one of the speakers. But also, the speakers come with a wealth of knowledge. They come with their own
Yes.
ideologies, and bringing it to these workshops, allowing them to interact with these ladies, it just leads to a wealth of collaborative effort and a wealth of collaborative positivity, because I always say, and I think you will attest to this, competition is dead, collaboration is key. And as women, these events are so imperative to get to collaborate, get to speak to like minded women. So, Nadira, tell us about the Joburg and Durban events, please, before we get further into our discussion.
Okay, so I'm so excited. Johannesburg on the 15th of August 2026 at Belucci. This one is for you, Johannesburg. I'm coming all the way from Durban, so I hope you show up. It's a day of inspiration, again, a day of introspection, a day of sisterhood, of unity, like Farzana mentioned, like minded women coming together, not in competition. Again, this is my message. Let's collaborate. Let's create a sisterhood where there's no envy, there's no competition, there's no I am better than you superiority complex, but we are united because each and every one of us has challenges that others know nothing about. So when we collaborate, when we bring this wisdom together, we can create such unity, such sisterhood that the world can embrace this, and also that future generations can embrace this, because we are raising our daughters to be the future mothers of tomorrow, the leaders of tomorrow. So let them gain this wisdom. So the 15th of August at Belucci in Johannesburg, and on the 29th of August at Exotic Conference Center in Durban, Beauty and the Beast Within, for the woman who dares to face herself.
Absolutely well said. And like you said, you know, our daughters are watching us. As mothers, we've got to emulate what we want our daughters to one day be. So it's so important that we are of the best knowledge, best mannerisms, best, you know, we attack whatever is bothering us. And these things are so imperative to face in these type of workshops. So first of all, Nadira, hats off to you for creating this. I think it's a very powerful, impactful space for women to come together. So on the 15th of August, it's going to be taking place at Belucci in Ilovo. And on the 29th of August, it's going to be taking place at the Exotic Conference Center in Durban. So, ladies, please get your tickets now. So, Nadira, going more into this, many women wear masks to meet society's expectations. How can they begin the journey of embracing their authentic selves? Like you said earlier on, you know, we all have this people pleasing hormone that we want to always people please. But how is it to set yourself aside and be authentic and be loving yourself as yourself?
Correct. And to embrace, and I always say this is on my post as well, you're amazing just the way you are. You know, to embrace yourself with your imperfections, to embrace yourself with, you know, self-love people and self-care. People often think self-care is like wearing a mask or going to get a massage. Yes, that is also self-care. But the main self-care is looking deep within and understanding that I love myself. I'm embracing myself, firstly, because I love my creator. I have that connection with my creator. And then it is with myself and taking care of yourself. That's step number one. When I say taking care of yourself, I mean asking yourself, if I strip myself of the identity of, you know, being someone's mom or being someone's wife or being someone's daughter or someone's sister, who am I underneath all of these titles?
Yes.
Who am I under the title of being, well, Naadira Chippa? Who am I under the title of Farzana Mayet, for instance? Who's under the mask? Who's under, you know, when I'm alone? When I'm alone and I have those thoughts with me, what do I think about? What do I gravitate towards? What am I, is my thinking negative? Am I thinking, and why is it negative? Am I thinking of others negatively? And when we do that, it's often because we think of ourselves negatively. So whatever we bring about, whatever's inside of us gets projected onto the next person. So as I say, it starts with us. Where does it begin? When we meet the beast within.
Absolutely, it starts from within. So, Nadira, as an author as well, how has writing become a part of your own healing journey, and what impact do you hope your books have on readers? Because I've read your books, they're absolutely amazing. You know, I think for many women, they can attest to everything that you've written in there. So,
Correct. And it's such an important question. And, I often, in all honesty, it started with postpartum depression myself. I was never a writer. It started off with me bleeding onto paper as therapy for myself. It started 8 years ago, alhamdulillah. But those articles, and it was never meant to be seen by anybody, but it was shared with other moms who then shared it with people that they thought perhaps would use it as hope, as light, and then it went onto social media platforms, which I was never a part of at that time. So I didn't set out to be an author, Farzana. I didn't set out to write articles. I set out to bleed onto paper to help myself first. Do you see how that works? And then again, through the mercy of Allah, and it's through me that that I feel that it's a gift that you have to go through so much of challenges, so much of darkness in order to see that light and to share that light with others. That is my purpose.
Okay, so Naadira, in your experience, how do unresolved childhood wounds influence our adult relationships and self worth?
It's because how we think, our conditioning. If your parents condition you to believe the sky is black, and you have a person that's saying, well, the sky is blue, can you see? You're going to say no. You're going to be adamant, the sky is black. So that's the conditioning. Our identity starts in the womb, which is epigenetics. Our identity starts when we're in the womb of our mom. Imagine that. So it's generations before her as well. So imagine the impact we have as parents, that
Absolutely.
amana, that
The
trust as
impact
a
is
child.
profound.
That child is a trust towards us. So even if we do not come from a healthy family can come from you.
Has to come from you. That generational trauma has to be cut somewhere. And I love what you said.
Correct.
A healthy family has to come from you. Somewhere along the line, we've got to stop blaming, should I use the word,
Correct.
blaming the generational trauma,
Blame.
blaming, what our parents came from, and start taking accountability and saying, look, it ends with me.
It
I've got
ends
to
with
be the
us.
better mother
Yes.
for my daughter. I'm not going to behave the way I was treated, for example. Or a boy saying that, you know what, I'm not going to behave with my kids how my dad treated me. So it
That's how
starts
we
with the
break,
individual.
generational curses, and then
Yeah,
we build a generation, Farzana, a generation of healthy adults. Inshallah, we're raising a generation of moms, of dads. Imagine that when we're raising little kids, we don't realize this, but someday they're going to be someone's dad, someone's mom, a leader, inshallah, of the community, of the world. So let's make that intention today. Whoever is watching this also, that let's introspect and break generational curses, and not to blame the past generations because they had trauma we know nothing about, and back then there was
exactly.
not like resources like we have today available to them, right? So we understand that, and we heal by knowing that it ends with us. It may not have started with us, but it
But
ends
it
with
ends with
us.
us. Yeah, that's absolutely profound. So you often teach women about healthy boundaries. Why do so many women struggle with saying no? And what practical advice would you give them? Now, this is very important. I think so many women struggle with this, Nadira. We hear of this
Yeah.
every single day.
Yes, people pleasing, right? It's like in our trauma board, right? People pleasing. Okay, so boundaries are not something that's seen as harsh. It's something that we need to revise and think about as kindness. Boundaries is kindness, not just to yourself but to others as well. Imagine someone coming over to your house when you do not want them there in your house at that time because you may be busy, you may be running errands, you may be short of time. But imagine how the guest will feel in your energy at that time. So again, when I say boundaries, it means kindness to the person that you're setting the boundary for and kindness towards yourself. Saying yes to everything, actually, that is doing injustice to that person as well as yourself. So when I say set boundaries, we need to know and to learn how to set boundaries with kindness, with good character. And when I say this, it is so imperative to set boundaries that it helps every relationship in your life, whether it's boundaries with your husband, whether it's with your kids, your in-laws, your own parents, but boundaries create barakah in that relationship as well.
But Nadira, easier said than done, right? We are strong personalities. We have those boundaries in place. But to our viewers watching right now, and they don't have that boundaries, it's so hard for them to say no. What is the starting point from your point of view?
The starting point is first acknowledging what's hurting you.
Okay.
Acknowledging that not setting boundaries, that's the starting point. The first starting point is acknowledging that I feel pain, that I'm hurting, that something is not okay, that my heart, my mind, and soul is not at peace with this decision, that where my lips are saying yes, but my heart is saying no.
Saying no.
And then again, it's seeking professional help to see how to set those boundaries because we're not looking to break family ties or to break
No,
friendships
not
or
at
to
all.
break relationships. We're looking for healthy relationships moving forward, and the tools in order to get that is often found through therapy.
Okay, so Nadira, many women feel guilty when they prioritize themselves. How can they
Yes.
overcome that guilt and understand that self care is not selfish? So that's now another
Yes.
facet from saying no and setting boundaries, right?
Correct. And self-care, meaning filling your own cup, understanding that my cup is empty right now. So imagine taking an empty cup, Farzana, and trying to pour out to your family members, to your
Impossible.
spouse, to your kids, to your parents, to your siblings, to your friends, to work. How are we then? What are we pouring to them? What do we have to give others when ourselves we're not fulfilled inside of us? So we often find moms who are angry, who are lashing out. We find dads who are tired, who are coming home. They have no time to engage with their kids. We have parents, we have kids who are now stuck to devices. It's because they don't want to connect to each other. And why is that? Why do we have a disconnect amongst each other, Farzana? That's because we have a disconnect within ourselves. And in order to connect to ourselves, what do we have to do? Firstly, let's disconnect from the devices before we connect with ourselves. And then to understand that self care means, I'm going to say, taking care of yourself at a level where your mind feels, your heart feels, your soul feels at peace, at appreciating, you know what, I spent 10 minutes with this child or with my spouse or with my mother today, and I feel so connected with them. Why do I feel that? If I spend 10 hours with someone, I may not feel disconnected, but I spend 10 minutes with someone and I feel recharged. How does that happen, Frazana? Number one, it's when you know exactly what connects you with someone and you know boundaries and you set them and you understand from your heart, your mind, and your soul that I am taking care of me
Of
first
me first.
before I step into that room. It's putting your oxygen mask before helping someone else with this,
You've got to help
as we see
yourself.
on flights,
But that's what I
right?
think is imperatively important, Nadira, that, we each of our viewers as well take cognizance of the fact that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you need to really, really take care of yourself first before you can even attempt to take care of the next person.
100%. 100%.
So, Nadira, what has been one of the most powerful transformation stories you've witnessed through your counseling workshops? I would love to hear this.
Okay, so that was last year, the mask in the mirror, where I had the 60-year-old lady come to me for counseling, and I shared this because she loves, for me to share the story, and it's my favorite actually, where she said to me, "I'm 60, I'm a widow," and I thought it was grief counseling, but it wasn't actually. She was there to understand herself. So she says, for 60 years, I sacrificed my life. So basically, whatever my kids wanted, I used to cook for them. Now I don't know what I want to eat because I'm alone. Wherever my husband wanted to travel, I travel with him. Right now, I don't know which country I want to visit. I don't know what hobbies I like. I don't know
Oh,
what color I like. Imagine the basics. I don't know how I would like to dress right now.
so she
I
lived
don't
for her
know who
family.
I am. So you see, Farzana, her identity was stripped, and in order to get her there, so imagine she was an artist. She loved to paint at the age of 19. She loved art, and then she got back into, drawing and coloring the basics. And now, guess what? She's got an art studio. So, Alhamdulillah, look at
That
that
is
journey over the years
absolutely
to get to
amazing.
know herself.
Gee, that is absolutely profound. So, how do faith, purpose, and emotional wellness work together in helping someone live a fulfilled life, Nadira?
Okay, so faith is hope, tawakkul is hope, and having that tawakkul, that strong, iman, meaning iman.
Gee,
And then, of course, purpose is your journey. And, on this road with hope and with this journey that we're traveling on is very temporary. Our life is so temporary, and finding your purpose, when you find your purpose, it's also it's a gift. It's a gift. Each one of us has a gift from Allah. Every one of us is gifted from Allah with a purpose in this world. And it's often when you are at service to others that you find your purpose in this world. So my message is, take both, take your faith, take your purpose, combine that, and I promise you, your life will be illuminated with happiness, with peace and barakah.
Nadira, what advice would you give to women who feel trapped by fear, self doubt, and the opinion of others? They're trapped in that
Opinions of
box.
others. Yes, trapped by the opinions of others. Yes, I find that a lot in counseling also, trapped by the opinions of others. I'm going to say, firstly, know who you are. Know who you are before the world tells you who you are, and raise daughters and sons as well to know who they are before the world, because the world is shouting for you to be somebody. The world is shouting for you to be somebody that they think you are. And often, Farzana, who we think we are is never who we are. So I might think I am smart because Farzana thinks I'm smart. Or Farzana might think I am beautiful because Nadira thinks I'm beautiful. But do we know who we really are inside of ourselves? So I'm going to say, get to know who you are before the world labels you.
Absolutely. And be confident in your skin, right? Be confident in
100%
yourself.
embrace the imperfections. I always say that embrace your imperfections. Embrace, how we were created in the best of form. And as I say, you're amazing just the way you are. Meet yourself exactly where you are and give her a hug, because your 9-year-old self will be so proud of where you are today.
And as I always tend to say, I'm my own favorite. So love yourself first, and
100%.
everything else just falls into place.
Yes.
Okay, so finally, Nadira, if every woman watching today could remember just one message from Nadira Chippa, what would you want that message to be?
I'm going to say you're amazing just the way you are. Exactly what Farzana said. Love yourself. Love yourself to a point where even the beast within, you understand that he's not or she is not your enemy, but she is there to whisper to you, to understand you, to actually to help you and to assist you on this temporary journey of life. So you are amazing just the way you are. Do not let the opinions and the screams and the shouts of this world, because look, we're all on social media. The world screams at us, as I mentioned, to be someone that we're not. So embrace yourself just the way you are. You are amazing just the way you are.
Nadira, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight on Visionary Paths. It has been an honor and a privilege having you. All the best with the workshops. Jazakallah so
Thank you for
much.
having me. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. So that brings us to the end of another wonderful segment of Visionary Pulse. Join me, Farzana Mayet, next week as I chat to another visionary game changer and change maker. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.